All right, welcome back to the Animal House. Thanks for stopping by. All right, let's get this out there. So, Texas has used the National Guard to secure its border. Our lopdick, half asleep president has threatened to federalize and force Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, to stop doing what he's doing. Well, it's technically the federal government's job to secure our borders. Okay. And our federal government is not doing it. It's quite the contrary. They're ordering people, or they're ordering the federal law enforcement to not do it. What in the actual fuck are we talking about here? I just did a video on the importance of secure borders. And in doing that, what the benefits are. Okay. Now, this Article 4, Section 4 of the U.S. Constitution has become the topic here. So, as we've done on other things that are very specific to, the Bill of Rights, Constitution, things like that, we're going to go over it a little bit. So, Article 4, Section 4, this section emphasizes the federal government's obligation to guarantee each state a Republican form of government and to protect them against invasion, domestic violence. So, let's break this down a little bit. Guarantee of a republic form of government. The federal government is constitutionally obligated to ensure that each state has a republican form of government. This means that the government in each state should be representative, with elected officials and a system of checks and balances. While the provision primarily addresses the form of government, it could indirectly support the state's right to protect its borders if it deems such measures are necessary to maintain internal order. Okay, so that right there, people are going to be like, oh, well, what if we vote Democrat? It has nothing to do with your political affiliation. It has to do with representing the people of the state. Okay, so when it says a Republican form of government, it's just saying a representative form of government. All right, so the federal government is failing on this part all over the place, completely across all border states. Okay, now you have sanctuary cities, sanctuary states that are going crazy because border states are busing and flying in immigrants because they voted for it. So help deal with it. Okay. Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, California, Florida cannot burden the entire brunt of idiotic politics out of DC. Okay, protection against invasion. The Constitution explicitly states that the federal government must protect each state against invasion. If the state perceives a threat to its borders, whether it be a form of external actors or other states, it can appeal the federal government for assistance. However, if the federal government fails to respond adequately, a state may argue that it has the right to take measures to defend itself against potential invasion, including enforcing its own border policy. So Texas does not want to have an open border with Mexico. Greg Abbott has asked 8 times officially for the president to intervene and do something about it using the federal laws. And he has not. So that has left him with the ability to do it himself. Protection against domestic violence. The federal government is also obligated to protect the states against domestic violence. If the state faces internal unrest or violence within its borders and the federal government is unresponsive, the state government may, in extreme circumstances, take action to address the situation and maintain order. This could involve enforcing border policies if they prevent the entry of individuals or groups contributing to domestic violence. So, this part of it would be like if internally in the state there erupted to be something, which this has happened before, where the National Guard has gone in to assist the state to quell riots or protests or whatever. Okay. Posse comitatus is something that, is important in this case. But protecting against invasion is where Greg Abbott is making his decisions from. And that's why 25 other states have gone to support him. And some of those states have already sent either National Guard or law enforcement down there to assist in securing the border. So it's essential to note that with Article 4, Section 4 outlines the federal government's responsibilities. The U.S. Constitution does not explicitly grant states the authority to independently enforce immigration laws or control their borders. Immigration and border control are typically considered federal matters under the Constitution. But in saying that, if the federal government fails or does not do anything, then the state has the ability to do it themselves. But this is where this next part comes in. In practice, conflicts between the state and federal authorities on immigration issues have been resolved through legal challenges and court decisions. The Supremacy Clause, Article 4, Clause 2, establishes that the federal law takes precedence over state law when there is a conflict. Therefore, a state were to implement its own border policies in defiance of the federal law, legal disputes would likely arise, and the courts would ultimately determine the constitutionality of such actions. Now, this part of it I think is interesting because it says if the state makes up its own laws or it enforces non-federal laws. Well, the state of Texas isn't doing that. The state of Texas is enforcing the federal laws. Okay, they're not making up their own. They're enforcing the ones that have been on the books forever. Okay, they're not adding anything to it. They're not modifying them. They're not doing anything of the sort. They are enforcing the federal laws because the president and the federal government are failing or not acting to do so. And so, yes, there's going to be a lot of legal back and forth. But in the meantime, I think Greg Abbott's doing the right thing in securing our fucking border, because keeping America safe and secure, especially in the times that we're having right now, is important. So, in saying that, I hope this helped out. We'll see you in the comments. We'll see you in the next video. Thank you.